Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Slow Burn Pro Wrestling Podcast, where all professional wrestling storylines live. As always, I am your host, Matt Brandon, and we have a lot to talk about today. What a hell of a start we've got to this week. Raw, boom, check. NXT, boom, check. And we're going to be going over both of those shows. I'll spend a little bit of time on both of them, probably a little more on Raw. And then we are going to preview AEW Dynamite and tomorrow's TNA Impact. All right, we got a lot to talk about. Plus, today I want to mention a new wrestling program to throw out there for you guys. So, a little bit to go with as far as the future, a little bit to look back with as far as our past, and to know that wrestling is in a great place. This weekend's going to be fire as we have freaking AEW Revolution coming up. It's just a lot, and we're going to go over every bit of it. So, let's go ahead and start off with Raw, guys. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Raw was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. I know it's kind of, I've read a little bit online to where like it's kind of getting a little bit of bad rap a little bit. And I'm going to say, I can see why. All right. I can see why. And here is it. We just come off of Elimination Chamber. We literally had one of the biggest moments in wrestling history happen. Arguably one of, if not the biggest heel turn of all time for this business. And I think people thought that we would get The Rock and Cena at Raw, or at least one of the two. I don't know. I didn't really I get the fact of why they would want that as far as like mainstream attention, and I see that. But as far as the show and the way you develop a slow burn story, I don't think that they're needed at that point. Matter of fact, I think that it almost leads more intrigue and like the boss man, and now you got this under guy that's following the final boss, and they're a little better. They don't need to show up on Raw. They're better than that. I do have a feeling that we'll hear from them on Friday on SmackDown. Between now and then, maybe not a lot, and it might not be much at SmackDown, but I know everyone right now is just like clamoring. Why, John? Why did you turn your back on hustle, loyalty, and bleh? Because it was a fantastic move. By the way, I did get a message earlier today telling me that there's a Cena heel shirt out now and that I need to go ahead and buy it. I will check after I do this show today. I'm going to check, and if there is, I'm going to go ahead and get it, and I promise next week I'll have one on at some point. I'm just waiting on the one. I promise you, I'm a man of my word. I'm going to do it. I said I would do it. I'm going to do it. So, with that said, it's what I expected, but at the same time, it's not what the general public expected. I was listening to Busted Open yesterday, and I listened to them how they were breaking down the difference between mainstream audience and wrestling audience, and basically how, for me, I understand why they're not there, but for the person that just heard that John Cena turned heel on Saturday night, he's tuning in, or she's tuning in, to kind of see the direction that this is going. So, yeah, if that was you, you're a little bit disappointed. Oh, excuse me. There's that normal after the afternoon lunch yawn that I'm going to always get in. So, yeah, what are you going to do? So yeah, I kind of see both sides of it. For me personally, being the wrestling fan that I am, I'm going to go ahead and say that I liked the way this went. I liked the slow burn. I don't think we needed The Rock there. I don't think we needed Cena there. I think we got exactly what we needed to get out of this, which was a lot of vignettes looking back at what happened, a lot of different camera angles from the same stuff, which at one point I even like, are we going to see this exact same thing at every freaking break? But they expanded on it by making it different. The same, but different. And I think that the announcers did such a freaking good job of piling that on. I think the silence that they gave Saturday really led in to the communication that they're going to get out moving forward, and they started that on Raw. But how did Raw start? It started exactly like I wanted it to start, and that was CM Punk coming out and being his freaking passionate, emotional, pissed off self, and I absolutely loved it. How he started that, and I don't know if you guys noticed, it took the Cody thing. He didn't say, so what do you want to talk about? Like, he literally said, give me somebody. Who do you want me to fuck with today? And of course, I think he was thinking that Seth would probably be the first one that the crowd shouted out, but Pat solved that very quickly by making it The Rock. excuse me, by making it Cena. Like that stuff to me was so good. Bald frauds. First off, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? Embrace the baldness. We got to do that, and Cena will not do that apparently. So embrace freaking hairpiece or keep your damn hat on, But as a personal bald man myself, let's have a little bit of love. Let's have a little bit of love, except for that Cena sucks. So, yeah, I love the bald fraud stuff. I love the fact that Punk calls The Rock out. I don't need a fake title over my shoulder to prove my worth. Uh, wow, that hit close to home. My wife looked up at me at one point and she's like, Rock's not going to be okay with that. And he's the damn boss. And I said, he had to have approved that shit. Like that stuff wasn't going to be said without approval. Now, maybe he didn't because Punk gets some leeway in his promos and we know that. But, excuse me. But I will say that I thought that the way he attacked both of those guys, awesome. The way he looked at Cena with the whole freaking hustle, loyalty, respect, it's all bullshit. And I've always seen through your bullshit. Like that stuff, man, that was lightning coming from the tongue. And he absolutely killed it. It was exactly what we wanted out of that opening segment. If you're a person that has the chance to have a segment like that, you should probably take some notes on how CM Punk did it. Okay, because it was perfect, it was real, it was emotional. Obviously, after Seth gets involved, it was violent. Yeah, it was great. And his shout out to Seth, hey Becky Lynch, you need to get control of your man before I put him in a wheelchair. Um, yeah, that line cut deep. Now, I don't know if you guys know, Becky had a little tweet that she put out a little afterwards that has since been deleted. I am not going to repeat that tweet, but I'm going to say, "Ouch!" Like that might be going a little too far with the realism of all this stuff. And I assume that she recognized that and took the tweet down. If you want to see it, look it up. It's out there in the internet somewhere. Yeah, it just was a little below the belt if you know the history of CM Punk and allegations of CM Punk and things of that. So yeah, I thought that was a little much, but overall, man, when Seth came down. By the way, I said I wanted Seth in like all black sunglasses. Like I said, I wanted him the Johnny Cash of pro wrestling, that somber, just matter of fact business. It wasn't quite that, but it was kind of in a way that is Seth Rollins. Like Seth is so flamboyant. He's the peacock, right? And he's got all of these outfits that everybody gives him shit for. Now he comes out a little more subdued. The pants weren't all black, but it was black and gray. The shirt wasn't all black, although after he took off the first shirt, it becomes all black. Like I think they got out of it what they wanted to get out of it as far as a Rollins business, I'm here to kick ass type thing. And he needed that. And I thought that the way he just comes out, they go after each other, they meet on the ramp, they're beating the piss out of each other. By the way, there was some realism on some of those shots too. Some of those punches to the head. You could see quite a few potatoes going through. But overall, man, this piece was so good. I thought the security did a great job. I thought Adam Pierce was phenomenal as always. But this segment in general, man, it just didn't miss. It really didn't. And to see it continue later on in the show, Kathy Kelly, that was a great part. Backstage, Kathy's getting ready to interview Seth. He looks to his side and, oh, but damn if that ain't CM Punk. And then here he goes and he's going out and they're fighting again and it's the same stuff. I'm telling you guys, we are getting Punk and Rollins some way at WrestleMania. Now, rumors, we guys know we don't get completely involved in rumors because when they come from the dirt sheets, we know what they are. Although some of them do carry substance. I keep hearing that there are a couple options. One being Seth and Punk one-on-one. I feel like we've seen that. We're definitely going to see that next week, right? And I'll get to that. The other part is like maybe Seth, Roman, and Punk in a triple threat like that. I could maybe put some teeth into that. That makes sense. And then the other one that I've heard recently is going to do with the freaking call out to Becky Lynch and Becky Lynch's tweet. And if that stuff, if it's all a work and the tweet was a work and then the removal of the tweet was a work, like this would work with a mixed tag match, all right, where you have Seth and Becky Lynch versus Punk and his wife AJ Lee. AJ coming back would be one of the hottest things that could happen for Mania season outside of championship belts, so that makes sense. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a big mixed tag match fan because, number one, it always ends up with usually the bad guy hitting the woman at some point, and the woman going down, even if it's on accident. That doesn't work here when you're dealing with husbands and wives, right? So I don't know if a mixed tag match is definitely the way that you want to go. The other thing is let them all go square off one on one. Like if AJ's coming back in this, she can't go after Seth, so she's going to go after Becky. Oh, excuse me. So why wouldn't you want to continue that with a one-on-one? And maybe that's the setup. Maybe it's a mixed tag match to get towards the setup of one-on-one stuff. But here again, I don't know if that's the right path. However, this is one that I'm going to say I'm not against it. I'm not against any of these ideas. My initial thing is Punk versus Roman versus Seth sounds really fun to me. Maybe that's where we get the Paul Heyman favor coming in that we know from way back when with Survivor Series. Like all of this to me works. The question is when do we get the clear picture of how it's going to work? So yeah, overall, awesome segment. I absolutely loved it. It could not have went any better. It's an A plus 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 as far as how to open this thing. Now, the other thing they set up is next week on Raw. By the way, it's that special Raw. Every once in a while, I think they do it like twice a year, but we get that special Raw that happens at Madison Square Garden. It's basically like a pay per view. This is that first one here in as far as Madison Square Garden in the Netflix era. This baby is going to be full of all kinds of greatness, and we know that for sure we're going to have Seth Rollins versus CM Punk in a fucking steel cage. Like, where do I sign? Give me more, give me more, give me more. These two are going to beat the hell out of each other, and I have a feeling it won't end here. Not if they're going to progress this all the way to Mania. What, we got 5 weeks, right? So 5 weeks to Mania, there is chance to build on this. But you're throwing them into the freaking deep end. You're putting them into the freaking cage right there live on Raw. Good. Good. Let's let it happen. It could be match of the year. You just never know. These two are going to put on an absolute show, though. I can promise you that. Further, after our wonderful Punk performance and Seth beating the piss out of each other, we did get Gunther versus Otis. And I said, I hope they give Otis a shot. I wanted Gunther to go over. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you guys what, this is one of the hardest hitting damn matches I've seen in a long time. They beat the hell out of each other. Otis looked really damn good. They were chopping for chopping for chopping, and it looked good. Gunther goes over. You knew that was going to happen. Otis gave him everything he wanted. Sometimes Otis looks stiff. Most of the time, but sometimes when he's with the right worker that's in there with him, man, Otis can look so freaking good. And I thought this was one of those cases. Obviously, it gets out of hand at the end. Jay comes in, makes the save like we expected was going to happen. Then the weirdness happened with A-Town Down Under getting revenge for the little stuff. Jay made fun of them last week. Yeet. Jay beat him up last week. Yeet. That kind of was odd to me, although I understand why we had to further that story in that situation. Because what it does is it gives the opening for Gunther to come in after Jay's already basically fought now everybody in the ring. He's beat up Austin Theory. He's beat up Grayson Waller. He chased Gunther out. Now he's looking at the other side, and Gunther's going to choke his ass into oblivion. And that's exactly what happened. So once again, we have Gunther beating up on Jay on Raw, furthering down the underdog path. Now, later on with the interview segment in the back, Jay looked mean. He looked businesslike. One word, 4 letters. Yeet. Like, it worked. It totally worked. Another great segment, guys. This slow burn build that we're working towards to Mania with these two are going to be really freaking phenomenal. The real question is, and I want you to start thinking about this, we're 5 weeks away. Where does it fit in the card? Night 1, night 2, main event, opener. I think there's going to be a lot of speculation on how this is going down. My guess is main event night 1. This may change between now and then, all right? Because the women may shuffle in there as well as far as some main event activity. Speaking of women, we had the IC belt defended once again. I talked about this. I wasn't happy about this match. The match itself was good, but Lyra Valkyria goes over Ivy Nile. I thought Ivy looked better in this match than she's looked in a while, but here again, I didn't understand the placement of it. I don't understand. You just lose the number 1 contender match 2 weeks ago, you come in and or beat up somebody at the end of the last match between Lyra and Dakota. Now you've earned your spot. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. But I will say the match itself was really good. Now, I want to tell you this though, as far as like what's next, if you listen to a backstage segment that happened, Liv Morgan tells Raquel Rodriguez, you need to keep your sights on the IC belt. Knowing that these two ladies just won the freaking tag team titles and now you're already telling her to keep her sights on the IC belt, that means to me that Liv is getting ready to go back into that championship picture as well. Probably post Mania would be my guess, but definitely something to keep your eye on. I thought that was a good segment, by the way. All right, but the one thing I want to say is keep this a workman's title. All right, I may not have liked the direction that we've been in it in the past, but the one thing I can say is that belt has been defended now 2 weeks in a row. All right, let's defend it again next week. Let's defend it again the week after. Let's keep coming up with some new challengers. Let's keep this thing interesting. The idea of the Intercontinental title is a workman's title or workwoman's title. It has to be. Lyra has to keep defending it, and the direction that we go could really be defined by who these title matches are going to be against. I mean, it'll be on the main stage at some point. It might be the SmackDown or whatever before Mania, but it should be on this main stage at some point. So keep that workman idea building, and then we see who the opponent is. It'll play itself out. I really do believe that. But I thought Lyra looked good once again. After that, guys, I'm going to skip around a little bit here. Kaiser had a promo, called out Penta. Penta came down, kicked his ass. I see where we're going. I'm okay with it. I like the idea of more Kaiser. I like the idea of more Penta. They dance well together, but here's the other thing, guys. AEW released completely Rey Fenix, and if you don't know who Rey Fenix is, that's Penta's brother. That's happening. That's going to happen, and when you see these two tag together, you are going to be floored with how amazing it is. These two can absolutely go. They will throw themselves right into tag team title mixture right away. But I want to say, this singles run for Penta has been impressive. I would like to see maybe an Intercontinental title shot there. Penta, Braun Breaker, pretty good. However, we know looking forward, we're going to probably be getting Braun Breaker and Finn Balor. Hopefully, Demon Finn Balor, as we saw a couple more little nuances pointing towards that on Raw, okay? Speaking of Lucha Libre stuff, we got a vision of Chad Gable. By the way, like he's in Mexico, he's searching Mexico, but yet didn't it seem like Kung Fu Theater? And if you're my age, you know what the hell I'm talking about. But the wise Asian Chinese, what I mean, I should say, like just the Kung Fu master that's going to take all of this knowledge and feed it to Chad Gable for the dark arts of Lucha Libre. But he was Asian, was he not? And like, isn't he in Mexico to seek out Lucha Libre, which is the Mexican style of I don't know, but I love the intrigue of the box. They give Gable the box. What's in the box? So that's going to be pretty cool. I assume it's a lucha mask. Whose? I don't know. We'll see the direction that we go. Tag titles were defended. Great freaking match. War Raiders go over the Creeds. American made. By the way, I made this call. Ivar, out of this world, amazing. Julius Creed, oh my God, the shooting star press he did in this match. That is a big, big dude doing a little dude's move. And it gave me like chills back to when Brock Lesnar used to do that shooting star press before he freaking landed on his head. Like that's the kind of vibe I got from that. But to be honest, it was cleaner than the one that Brock used to do. Although he's not quite as big, but he's very, very talented. And honestly, those two teams really pair well together, the War Raiders and the Creed brothers. So great job. We got the Braun interaction with Judgment Day, like I talked about. We're setting up a Finn versus Braun Breaker situation. I'm good with that. And then we talk about Bianca. All right, that gets us to this main event. Now, Bianca was interviewed backstage. I don't know if you noticed with the shades, and she looked kind of put offish, and she's laying it on pretty thick about the whole Naomi Jade thing. I'm telling you guys, Bianca is a heel. She is giving off heel tendencies. It's there, the way she's talking, her mannerisms that she's doing, the way that she held the glasses. Like, I'm telling you, we are dealing with heel. Then you put forth into the match. By the way, she's not on commentary. She's just chilling out watching the match between Rhea and Io, all right? And she's cheering openly for Io Sky. I said this before it was even mentioned on the broadcast. Like, she's openly cheering for Io, and that's not going to make Rhea happy. And at the end of the day, it did. By the way, great job by Jessica Carr, the referee in that match. Freaking great job. Made it look like that was your job that you're supposed to be doing. She was freaking involved to the point where she didn't need to be involved. I really liked her involvement in this set. But at the end of the day, let's call it what it is. Rhea, yeah, she took her eyes off the prize. Io goes over here, guys. I did not think this was going to happen. I was completely swerved by this. I really was. They got me good. I'm not unhappy about it, though. Sometimes when you get swerved as a wrestling fan, if you're as huge a freak about it as I am, like, you're happy that you got swerved. Like, I was so happy that I did because I like Io. I mean, I'm a huge mommy guy. We know that, but like, I like Io. I think what we're getting to is triple threat action here for Mania, by the way. Rhea, Io, and Bianca. I think that's where we're going. I think before that, we'll get more of a direction on where Bianca's head is at and the fact that she is a heel. I don't give a damn what you say. Oh, this is going to break some little girls' hearts. I know it's going to break little girls' hearts, but it's going to make me so happy. I'm so glad about it. So, yeah, great job. Rhea losing that belt going into Mania. Surprising. I have a feeling she'll have an opportunity to get it back, if not beforehand, at Mania. But we are working at a Rhea-Bianca match, and I cannot wait for it because we know that that'll be an absolute banger. So, overall, guys, Raw was fantastic. I gave it an A-. It's going to be a hard show to beat this week. It really is. And we'll see how we go further. I just love the way it's set up. I love the way that they didn't give us what you thought they would give us. I love the punks. Like, just a great job. A- for Raw. Easy leader going into the week as far as our show of the week for Sunday. Now, NXT, guys, we got a lot to talk about on previews tonight, so I'm going to be quick on NXT. I gave it a B-. It wasn't a bad show. Wasn't a good show. Opened up with Chelsea and Piper Niven. Chelsea Green, Piper Niven taking on Sol Ruca and Zarya. Sol and Zarya go over clean, I might add. That tag team is working for me. Chelsea, once again, steals the show. She's absolutely the best that there is out there. So, totally good with that. Jada Parker over Kalani Jordan. Jada calls out Julia and Stephanie Vaquer, so I know we're throwing Jada back into that title mix, which I'm okay with. That match, by the way, was really good. You get a chance to go back and watch it, you should. We had a Hardy's promo. They come out. Hank and Tank come out. They're basically telling how they're inspired by him. Tables, letters, and chairs. Extreme, extreme, extreme. That was awesome. And then you had that new Brooks Jensen. Not Brooks Jensen, but the oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, regardless, Josh Briggs. You have the Josh Briggs thing come out, and then Hank and Tank are going at it with them, little extreme action, and then Fraxium comes out, and we get a little bit of tag team chaos. I love the fact that at Roadblock we are going to be getting freaking good stuff. I mean, we are getting the good stuff as far as Hardy's versus Fraxium, and I cannot wait. Roadblock, a week away, less than a week away. It's on regular NXT television. They take a page out of the AEW stuff like Grand Slam, where it's a regular show, but it's a freaking pay-per-view, guys. So I love the tag team chaos. Jordan versus Cora was fire. Jordan goes over Cora because of referee stoppage. Thought that Cora had busted her knee up again. It looks like she's okay, but she may need a little time off. And that sucks because in TNA, we're dealing with the Cora versus Masha stuff. So hopefully Cora is okay. Guys, as a person that has had ACL reconstruction stuff, when you take a hit, it's freaking worrisome. Like, you freak out. It hurts when you see other people hurt their knees, and it's not an exaggeration. So, yeah, hopefully all is good with Cora Jade, and we can get past that. Trick looked mean again. Like Trick, I said, who's he fighting? Kel Dixon was his name. You guys all know Kel Dixon. But Trick come out, basically gave him the trick shot knee to the face, beat the piss out of him for about 10 seconds, and then match over. It literally was like a Road Warriors finish. I really liked that. I like Trick looking mean. I've been clear about that. Now, main event style. All right, Shawn Spears over Tony D. Shawn Spears brings in the North American title. Stacks cost Tony D this match, maybe on accident. It was not supposed to happen. This isn't over yet. Tony D and Shawn Spears, by the way, they really looked good in the ring together. I really liked them. So, yeah, good stuff. NXT B minus, guys. NXT's Roadblock is next week, and I will spend some extra time on that, I promise. So overall, though, great freaking job, great show. And that brings us to tonight, guys. AEW Dynamite tonight. Preview looks really, really solid. They didn't give us a ton. It's taking place in Sacramento. By the way, Collision will be taped tonight as well, as will Ring of Honor. So a lot taping going on wise tonight. You won't get spoilers from me. I promise I don't even open that shit. So, but what we're getting for sure, we got Cope versus Wheeler, the last of the Death Riders that needs to be taken out. I have a feeling we're going to get some Moxley interaction here. He is scheduled to appear, and that's all we get on Moxley. We're going to get the Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet contract signing. That could get violent. I'm sure they're going to say no violence allowed. Hopefully Shivani's in there with them. That always makes that more fun. So we're getting that. We're getting a good women's tag match kind of going. I talked about the we called it a mess up. I'm not calling it a botch. I'm not calling it a flub. But with Thunder Rosa and Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford a couple weeks ago on Collision, there was just an awkwardness to it. Well, they're going to get a chance to go tonight on AEW Dynamite as Thunder Rosa and Chris Statlander are going to tag up to take on Penelope Ford, and Megan Bayne. So yeah, that's going to be a good match. Super excited. Anytime Thunder's in the ring, I want to watch it. So, and then scheduled to appear, MJF. Not sure if that'll be in the ring as far as a promo or if it'll just be on the screen. Hangman scheduled to appear. Moxley scheduled to appear. Mercedes Moné scheduled to appear. So yeah, big night on Dynamite. I'm looking for a huge night of Dynamite too. I think that's why they haven't released a lot on the card yet, because we know we got Revolution coming this weekend, guys. Sunday, Revolution. Cannot wait. Great card. And it's going to be awesome. On my Sunday weekend review, I'll be able to preview Revolution, and can't wait for that. Tomorrow, TNA. We got a big night of TNA tomorrow. You guys know, no show on Thursdays, right? I'll come back and I'll recap Dynamite and TNA on Friday before I preview SmackDown, okay? But TNA looks to be pretty good. We're going to get a face-to-face with Obafemi and Moose. We're going to get Hardys versus the Colognes. Not sure if the Colognes are full-time with the system or that was just a one-off, but regardless, that's going to be a really good tag match. You don't remember the Colognes, guys, you should watch TNA. Good tag team specialists, all right? Carlito's people, that's who they are. Masha's scheduled to appear. We're going to hear from Masha. We are going to get the Northern Armory, Eric Young and his little crew, EY, taking on the Rascals and Ace Austin. We need some good stuff happening with that match, all right? You guys know my feeling. I love Ace. I love the Rascals. Let's make it happen. Local girl Savannah Evans is going to take on Zaya Brookside. We're going to get Elijah's first TNA singles match. Going to be a damn good one versus Brian Myers. You guys know my feelings on Brian Myers, one of the best workers that there is. This is the one I'm more excited for. This is Mike Santana, my boy Santana, versus the good hand himself, John Schuyler. He's now taking part in this new Mustafa Ali faction, the campaign, the cabinet, whatever they're calling it. But you guys know, I've always said John Schuyler's the best worker out there that you don't know, that you haven't heard of if you're not into TNA. And you guys have heard me also say how am in love with Mike Santana's work that he's doing right now. I think it's the best work he's ever done. It's got a shade of realism to it. And Schuyler versus Santana, it's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be really, really good. So glad to get to see that. And then we're going to get a little segment with the First Class Penthouse again with AJ Francis and Casey Navarro. Don't know who their guests will be, but it'll be entertaining to say the least. So Dynamite looks great. Even the stuff we don't know about, we know is going to be good as we lead into Revolution. Dynamite has been so good the last couple weeks. I think we're going to continue with that. So looking forward to that. TNA, like I said. And then one other thing I want to mention before we get off. Guys, tonight, 8 o'clock on Tubi. Okay, 8 o'clock on Tubi. And I don't know how Tubi works. I don't know if you can watch individual shows or what. I know you can't record, I don't think, on it. But 8 o'clock on Tubi, WWE Evolve. It's going to be involving some of these prospects, some of the WWE ID guys, my man Sean Legacy. All right, rumor has it that match is going to be on there tonight. You might see the slow burn in the crowd. And we know Sean's doing a lot of good stuff locally here in the CSRA. Can't wait to see him in action next week, next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. Savannah River Brewing Company with the Phoenix Wrestling Experience. If you haven't got your tickets yet, you need to get them. They're running out very quickly. Slow Burn will be there. Come say hi. I'll give you a bracelet. So there you go. super big night of TV, super big night of wrestling still ahead of us today, tomorrow, Friday. I'm sure we'll find something on Saturday. And then obviously we got the big Revolution AEW pay-per-view on Sunday. So guys, we got a lot going on. I'm glad to be able to bring it to you. This has been the Slow Burn, guys. And remember, keep liking my stuff. Please share my stuff. Give me some more people. We need some more followers. I'm going to go over some of those goals I have set up coming here in the next week or so. Also, I'm going to do a heel turn Mount Rushmore this weekend. I'll probably do it on the Saturday short. So heel turn Mount Rushmore. Get to thinking of your favorite, most awful heel turns you can come up with. All right. And we'll do that probably Saturday, but we'll kind of go. But you guys will hear from me on Friday afternoon, evening, and I can't wait for it. Guys, this has been the Slow Burn Pro Wrestling Podcast, where all professional wrestling storylines live. As always, I am your host, Matt Brandon, and in this world, we are wrestling everything. So stay on top.